What an opportunity this is going to be when all the crap clears up and everything starts to get back to some form of normality. It's going to be a terrific opportunity if you are a young footballer, particularly if you're a young footballer in your club's academy, and none more so than at West Ham. Now, yesterday on the video, I discussed about the Premier League greed and all of that. And I stand by that. I think there is just far too much greed, particularly when the Premier League, which is awash with money, is going to the government asking for handouts for them to pay the wages of their lowest paid staff whilst they're paying their highest paid staff millions and millions each year. That's the same. So, but I still do believe football has got to cut its cloth. And I do feel that football is going to have some sort of reality check and operate a little bit more within their means. Let's put it that way. So there is going to be a loss. Something's going to happen with this Sky TV deal and the BT TV deal. One of two things. Either they're going to have to offer them some form of rebate. The Premier League are going to have to hand back some cash to Sky, hand back some cash to BT. Or what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to sort of defer some of it. Or they're going to have to just extend the deal. So if the deal had 2 years left to run, they're going to have to say, look, we'll give you another season or whatever, something like that. We keep the money. Whatever happens, football is going to get less money than it had. Still a lot of money, but less money. So I will offer to you the example of Souček, who's playing for West Ham at the moment. Now, as we understand it, it's a loan deal. And a loan deal gets to be made permanent at the end if West Ham remain in the Premier League. Now, that last bit, I think that's a bit of a legal minefield. As we understand it, his parent club actually want him back. They feel that it might have been a bad deal. So when it comes to the end of it, there is a legal dispute, but West Ham might not have the money anyway. Because just imagine this, say every club loses 30, 40 million just from this season or over the next 2 or 3 years. Not many clubs can afford to do that. So when it comes to the end of the season, if West Ham have got a financial commitment, we have to pay for Sebastian Haller. We have to pay the remaining payments for Jared Bowen. We have to pay these we've committed to. The Souček money, we don't have to. We can actually hand him back at the end of the loan. Possibly. If we have that opportunity, what are we likely to do? Well, if we're skint, we're likely to not pay out the 18 million quid. And I just think that is going to be mirrored all over football. So I think what will happen is a lot of the bigger stars will either leave or either go home. If they do get transferred, it'll be for less transfer money. A player that was previously maybe worth 50 million in the transfer market, you may well find that his value now is 30 million. Whoopie-doo. They're just going to have to take the pinch if that's the case. But what I also think it will do, as I think we will see as it evens out, we're going to see some of the lesser clubs, some of the smaller clubs in massive financial difficulty. Your League One and your League Two clubs are going to be in a perilous position. As I said in yesterday's video, forget all this football family thing about the Premier League handing out a bit of money. Here you go, lads. You keep yourselves going. That's not going to happen. There's going to be no bailout for those football clubs. A lot of them will go to the wall and a lot of them are going to struggle. And the only way some of them will survive is by the Premier League clubs who, even though they might be operating £30 million a year less, are still going to be very, very rich. They're going to be saying to these clubs, we'll have him, we'll have him, we'll have him. And there'll be nothing the clubs can do about it. I'll give you the example of Queen's Park Rangers, who have some very, very talented youngsters. Now, there would have been a time when Queen's Park Rangers would have thought, well, hold on a second, we're gonna keep these players progressing and we'll get 10 million for him, maybe 7 million for him, and so on and so forth. Actually, if you look at Jude Bellingham at Birmingham City, is a great case in point. If Birmingham City is strong, they can really extract whatever they want for that player. But the lower league clubs are not going to operate from a position of strength anymore. The gate receipts were very, very important to them. The TV deal was important to them. So now they're looking for money to trickle down from the Premier League. So QPR's best three youngsters are probably going to get hoovered up by Premier League clubs. Why? Because the Premier League clubs are probably going to lose players like Souček or whatever. Pogba will probably go from Man United and so on and so forth. Pick your player. So what they'll do is they'll go down to lower leagues and they'll say, we'll have him. But they probably won't be paying the 10 million that QPR want for their star winger. They'll probably turn around and say, I'll have him for 5 million. QPR are going to have to do it. There's no doubt about that at all. But what that is going to do is that is going to afford an opportunity for some other younger players at QPR. QPR will probably get the money, enable them to keep going. They'll have to drastically slash their wage bill. I think everybody will. Maybe there's one or two clubs that won't. Maybe Man City, but they're already in trouble for it anyway. You've got to match. Your wage bill's got to match your turnover. So I just think there's going to be a huge opportunity for a lot of young players. And you look at West Ham. Look at Dean Garner coming back. There's a massive opportunity for Dean Garner to come and stamp his authority and take his place in the West Ham team. In the current market, even before all this rubbish, this terrible, ridiculous situation happened, would Felipe Anderson have commanded the £38 million that we paid for him? No. What would we get for Felipe Anderson, all being well, without the disruptions to the football calendar? Probably 30 million. After it, what will we get for Felipe Anderson? I think we'd be lucky to get 15, 20 million. But it's still 15, 20 million quid at a time when football is uncertain. It's still money off the wage bill. Dean Garner comes in. He fills that spot. I mentioned about Souček earlier. Souček, it doesn't happen for the reasons, because West Ham maybe just don't have the 18 million quid. Personally, like to keep him. That's okay. Cullen comes in, Cullen plays. Do I expect the standard of football overall over the full Premier League to drop? Absolutely, 100% I do. But we do have some very, very talented youngsters. If you want to hear a little bit more about them, myself and Gio are recording a tier video over on the main channel where we look at all our young players and give them a good rating. All the way through from the ones you've heard of, like Ben Johnson, to Kai Corbett, who's the next young player coming through. But even just Ben Johnson and Ngakia there, these are two guys, they come in, if we're struggling with a foot, Zabaletta's going, off the wage bill, great. Maybe Fredericks goes, maybe Masuaku goes, maybe these players just aren't at West Ham anymore. But it does present an opportunity for the young players. We do have some decent young players there. And I think looking forward, it might not be the football that we recognise as the Premier League, but I think there might be something in it. Certainly reading the comments, and I loved the comments on the video that I did about the greed in football and that sort of thing. Reading some of the comments, I certainly feel that fans are really, really annoyed with how football's reacted in this current predicament. People seem to find it offensive that footballers are still taking all of this money when they're struggling for beds in the NHS and stuff like this, you know. There was even talk yesterday about wages deferrals for players. The deferral of the wages. They don't need the players to defer their wages because it's still going to cripple the clubs anyway. The wages still deferred just means, I'll tell you what, I won't take my 200 grand this week or next week or the week after. You can give me all that money. It will still build up. You can give it to me in 3 months' time. That's not going to help anyone. Deferring, no, what they need to do is they need to sacrifice some of their wages. And I feel because of all this, everyone knows and feels that it's the wrong thing to do. Everyone doesn't like it. So if we can get rid of a lot of those mercenary players out of our game, if we can get rid of a lot of the greed, if West Ham and other clubs don't have quite as much money, it affords an opportunity to the players. And it affords, I think, a team out on the pitch which the fans can better connect with. And the more I think about it, and I'm not saying get rid of everybody, but Fabianski in goal, with Nathan Trott as a number 2, and Ngakia at right back, Ben Johnson left back, still Ogbonna, who's, Ogbonna, Diop maybe at the back, maybe Cullen alongside Rice in the middle. Who's going to come and pay £90 million to Rice? Nobody is, not in the current market. Bit of Dean Garner on the wing, Bowen on the other wing, Fornals, he looks to have good character. Bit of Fornals in there. Maybe young Diallo coming off the bench and featuring a little bit. And I look round at it and I think, actually, if I was travelling to the stadium looking forward to a game, I wouldn't mind that at all. I think I'm just going to be glad to get back to watching football. But a West Ham team full of youngsters who are pleased for the opportunity